It is the story of a princess who ends World War I to save humans. She renounces her family and her kingdom for good. Dinah is a French woman who lives in Paris where a man approaches her. He hands her a briefcase sent by Bruce Batman, who protects the people. Dinah opens the briefcase and there was a picture inside. There were 4 people with her in the picture. There was a note as well. It was written, "I found the original, maybe one day you will tell me your story." Reading the note, Dinah goes into her past life, and the story goes to the flashback. It was the time when Dinah was a kid and lived on an island with her mother. Her mother was the queen of the place and the island was named Themyscira. This was a hidden island and not ordinary humans can see this. This island was hidden from the world. The special thing about the island was just females lived on the island. There wasn't any male and the females were the great warriors here, and they always practice fighting. Dinah was a kid but she was moving like them while seeing them. Diana's mother, the queen, does not want Dinah to learn any fighting skills because she loves her. She has made Dinah with mud. Later, she prayed to Zeus, the king of the gods, and he breathed life into Diana's mother's mud statue. Like this, Dinah comes to this world and her mother tells her story at night. She tells Zeus, who is the god of humans, have made humans, and loves humans a lot. Humans live nicely at that time. But Zeus's son, who was the deity of war, gets jealous of humans. Humans became envious of one another as a result of his actions and began fighting with one another. Zeus created us in order to instill love in the hearts of humans. It happened the same, but after some time the condition remains the same on the earth. We lived in Amazon and I was the queen of Amazon and fight against Zeus's son. Zeus sent some deities for our help. But his son has ended all the deities. Zeus was left alone and fought with Ares with his whole powers. Ares has to leave because of it. Zeus knew that his son Ares will come back and will finish humanity again. Zeus gave us a sword and we can end any deity with it. Then he made this island with his last breeds. He has done this so Ares will never find us. Likewise, we are hidden from the whole world. Zeus has become weak after competing with Ares. He made this island before leaving his body. It was the island where Dinah lived with her mother. So Ares will never find them. Dinah says, "I want to see the sword given by Zeus to you." Dinah asks her mother who will use this sword, and her mother tells the powerful one can lift it. Her mother says you don't need to think about it because you will not be taught fighting skills. The queen doesn't know that Dinah was learning all this from her sister, and Dinah has grown elder with the passage of time. Diana's mother sees her while training one day. She sends her back and asks her sister, "Why are you teaching her fighting skills?" She says, "We know Ares will return one day and if Dinah will not learn to fight it will be dangerous for her." Ares, the queen tells her sister, will find Dinah as soon as she gains power. Dinah, whether she wants to or not, will have to face Ares one day, according to the queen's sister. Diana's mother asks her sister to teach her nice fighting skills. It happens the same as time passes. Dinah becomes a great warrior. She has more powers and Dinah didn't know this and none has told her. Dinah was standing at the shore of the sea and sees a plane crashing into the sea. It was drowning in the water and there was a man as well in it. Dinah saves the man and brings him to the island. She was surprised to see that man because she hasn't seen a man in her life. This man was named Steve. Then some boats and a ship are shown in the sea. They were chasing Steve. They were Germans and couldn't see anything further. Meanwhile, an officer sees a piece of the plane. He sees the hidden island when he tries to hold it. It was hidden from the world until today. The German officer also sees Steve. They were moving forward to Steve for holding him. Steve tells Dinah they are bad people and the lady warriors of the island also arrived there. The German officers have guns but the lady warriors have swords and arrows. They face them. The German officers couldn't keep their hold on them for long. A German officer was about to end Dinah. But her mother's sister comes in front of Dinah, who has taught her the fighting skills. She dies as the bullet shoots her. Dinah feels depressed and weeps a lot. All the German officers were ended now. Steve was left and they were about to end Steve. Dinah comes in front of him and tells everyone he was fighting with us. They ask Steve, "Why did you come here and what his mission is?" Steve informs them that I am a detective who was spying on the Germans in their camp. When I discovered Germans are making a poisonous gas and can end everyone with it, I escaped from there while stealing their diary. The general has ordered to make this poisonous gas. Soon there will be a fight between the two countries. Likewise, everyone will die. Actually, the preparations for World War I were going on outside the island. The residents of this island don't know anything. Steve says if I will convey this diary to my headquarters, so maybe this war will be stopped here, and millions of people will be saved like this. Dinah hears this and feels this is done by Ares. He again wants to end humanity. Dinah wants to save humanity. If Dinah will go out of the island, she can never come back. Dinah decides she will save humanity. She wears her costume for going to the war and takes her sword given by Zeus as well. Diana's mother arrives when she was leaving, and says if you will go out of this island, you know you can never come back. The human world cannot accommodate you. Steve and Dinah leave on the plane from this island. Steve goes to his senior officers with that diary stolen from the German camp. The senior officers see that diary and it was written in the old languages. None understands the language. Dinah tells them it is written in two old languages. Dinah tells them it is written in two old languages. Dinah knows thousands of languages and can speak also. She reads the diary and tells them Germany is making a poisonous gas, and will leave it on the front. The senior officers were talking about a deal from Germany. Steve says give me a chance, I will end the headquarters where they are making this, but the seniors don't agree. Dinah becomes furious, because she knows if Germany will leave the gas, millions of people will die. She values the life of each human. Steve takes Dinah from there. He says we are trying to talk, but Dinah says he is Ares, he will not listen to anyone. Dinah has believed that the leader of this war is Ares. He wants to end humanity at any cost. On the other hand, Dr. Maru is shown in Germany making those poisonous gases. The doctor was facing a problem because the diary was lost. The general arrives and asks she when she will complete her task. Dr. Maru says I have made a new gas and the human who will use it will become powerful. She breaks a capsule there. As the smoke goes into the general's nose, he gets strength. He becomes powerful. It is also shown that Dr. Maru has got a new formula. She was making a new gas from this new formula. Millions of people can be ended at a time with the help of that gas. Steve gets ready to take Dinah to the place of war. Before leaving, they make a team who will work together. Reaching the place, Dinah feels bad seeing the people there. They reach the Belgium front and there was bombarding. The people were dying and everyone was running here and there. They were in a worse condition. A lady stops and talks to her while saying everything has been snatched from us. Most people have been placed as slaves in the village. Dinah asks the lady where does this happen? The lady points and the Germans have occupied that place. Dinah wants to go to that place and asks Steve, I want to help the people here. Steve stops her from going there. Dinah doesn't listen to him and then comes in her warrior costume. She moves to the place where the German soldiers were firing. Dinah stops the bullets from her armor wearing on her arms. She competes with the bullets there. She has sharp eyesight and the Germans were firing towards Dinah. But Diana's shield stops all the bullets. Steve and his companions reach there after seeing this. They start firing at the German soldiers. Dinah has reached the place where the German soldiers have made villagers their slaves. Diane beats the German soldiers badly. Officers in Germany fire a lot. Dinah ends the German officers and the villagers were escaped now. This happened because of Dinah, Steve and their companions. The villagers say thanks to Dinah. A man clicks their picture, in which there were Dinah, Steve and their 3 friends. This was the same picture sent by Batman to Dinah. Dinah was remembering the whole story while seeing the picture. Steve discovers there will be a huge party of German officers and Steve also wants to go there. Dinah and Steve do the dance practice. They somehow reach the place the next day, at the party place of the German officers, and the security was strict there. They want to go inside somehow. The German general will also come there and Dinah considers him Ares. Steve goes inside as a German officer and meets the doctor, who has made this poisonous gas. He tries to take information from her but it was useless. He notices Dinah has also reached the party. She has hid the sword in her clothes that can end any deity. Steve stops her when she was about to end the general while taking out her sword. Dinah says I will end Ares and everything will be fine after his death. Steve says if he will not be Ares then what will you do? Later, it is shown they spread this poisonous gas in a village. Dinah goes to the village and discovers thousands of people were ended because of this gas. Dinah feels depressed because of it. Steve arrives and she says, I was about to end Ares but you stopped me. I have comprehended everything, and Ares has also made you angry, not even Germans. She says, I will go there and will end the general. Steve shows her smoke from a distance and Dinah moves to the place on her horse. She ends all the German soldiers reaching there. She reaches the cabin of the general and he tries to shoot Dinah. Dinah stops the bullet from her shield. The smoke is inhaled by the general through his nose. It was made by Dr. Maru and he has become powerful because of the smoke. There was a fight between Dinah and ends the general through her sword. She says before ending him, I am ending you because of the well-being of humanity. Later, she ends him. She was feeling everything will be fine after his death. Nothing has happened like this and the Germans were getting ready for the war. Dinah is shocked to see this because she believes that when the king of war dies, the war will end. Meanwhile, Steve arrives and Dinah tells him I have ended Steve. However, people are still preparing for the war. Steve says I don't know anything about Ares. And Dinah says I have seen the kids were dying and none was paying attention to them. It only happens when Ares control the minds of people. Steve says maybe the people are like this and want to fight. Dinah says my mother said right, that the humans are not capable of our help. Steve says I need your help, if you would not help me many people will die like this. Steve leaves and Dinah hears some voice. As she turns there was the senior officer of Steve. He was Oak's officer, not the German officer. He was in German's camp and says your mother said right. Humans are not capable of our help, we should end humans. They are greedy people and Dinah understands that he is Ares. Dinah says that's you and moves forward while taking her sword. Dinah attacks Ares with that sword. As the sword hits with Ares's hand it finishes. Dinah gets shocked seeing this because she feels she can end Ares with this sword. Ares says the humans have snatched the earth from us. They are destroying it and when my father attacked me I became weak. I have waited 1,000 years. And the humans making poisonous gases because I have put those formulas in their mind. I tried before but I was failed. Now none can stop me to be successful. He takes Dinah into visions and shows her see how humans are destroying our earth. He asks her to be with him and we will destroy the people on the earth. Later, we will have this earth and tells Dinah this sword wasn't the one that can end deities. That weapon is you that was made by Zeus. Zeus has made Dinah to save humans and compete with Ares. She refuses Ares and says I can't be a part of your thinking. The fight begins between Dinah and Ares. She refuses Ares and says I can't be a part of your thinking. The fight begins between Dinah and Ares. Steve and his companions discover the Germans will throw poisonous gases in London. The city will be destroyed and they have loaded those bombs in a plane. Steve wanted to destroy this plane in the air, so the poisonous gases will not reach the earth. Dinah and Ares are shown on the other side. There was a heavy fight between them. There was a huge blast and Dinah falls aside. Steve arrives and says I have to leave and Dinah says don't worry, I will handle everything. Steve says let me save people because I love you a lot. Steve gets on the plane which contains the bombs of the gases. Ares wanted the support of Dinah. Dinah doesn't want this and Ares attacks her. Ares makes her fall on the earth but Dinah sees in the sky towards the plane. And he blasts himself in the plane along with the bombs and dies. Dinah couldn't bear this and screams loudly. Dinah was released from Ares's powers. On the other hand, the companions of Steve blast the headquarters in which the gases were made. The doctor comes out and comes in front of Dinah. Ares asks her to end her while saying this is the real face of human. They want to end each other. Dinah lifts a tank to end her. But she sees Steve's glimpse. He said while leaving always choose the path of love. Dinah leaves the doctor and attacks Ares. Ares uses his powers and attacks Dinah with electricity, but she absorbs the electricity in her hands. Ares again attacks and Dinah absorbs the electricity in her body. She throws the electricity at Ares while flying in the air. Ares was ended like this and the soldiers end the war. They hug each other. This war was ended like this and the soldiers in this war reach home again. They meet their family and there was happiness everywhere. The story shifts to the present where this Wonder Woman was thinking this. She says I always try to save humans. In this experiment, I've seen two things, darkness and light, both of which are very human on the inside. We must decide whether to move into the darkness or into the light. I know the world can be saved through love. Later, she sends a letter to Batman because he gave her the photograph containing her memories. It is shown in the final scene that she is once again ready in her Wonder Woman costume to save the world. With it, the movie concludes.